Hey guys, it's Coach T from TD Fitness with another podcast session tackling the question this time of how many calories should you eat? Now, this question was actually one of the top 10 Google searched questions when it comes to health and fitness over the past year. So I thought it'd be something that might be appropriate for all of you guys, and hopefully you get something from it. So first, let me say that the number of calories that anyone should consume is based on a number of factors. Largely your age, so how old you are, your height and your weight, so your size, your activity level, your state of health, and then some special cases like whether or not you're pregnant or breastfeeding. I'll also say that the most accurate way to determine how many calories you as an individual should be taking in every day is to go to a registered dietitian and have them calculate that for you. Now, that said, there are a number of tools online calculators that you can use to estimate the amount of calories you should be consuming per day based on those factors that I mentioned earlier, your age, your height, your weight, activity level, and so forth. The two online calculators that I would recommend are both published by the government. You can find numerous others across the web, but again, I try to stick to the most reliable sources. The two that I would recommend, one's put out by the National Institute of Health, and another is put out by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The USDA model or formula is the one that I use when working with health coach clients and so forth. So it'll provide special things too, like a daily checklist, visual representations of what the serving sizes should be or what they look like. And it's a good tool all around, pretty easy to use. I'll drop those links at the bottom of the YouTube post here so that you can check those out. So to give you an example, some frame of reference, calorie intake for me, according to the two models that I just mentioned, as a 41-year-old male, 6 feet, 2 inches tall, and 210 pounds, exercising on most days of the week, the National Institute of Health calculator says that I should consume 3,280 calories per day. The USDA calculator says that I should consume 3,200 calories per day. So pretty close there. And then just to compare, a 32-year-old female, 5 feet, 2 inches tall, 130 pounds, again, exercising on most days of the week, the numbers come in around 2,000 calories per day. Now, it's important to note that's to maintain your current weight. And each of the calorie tools, the calorie counting tools that I just mentioned also give you the option to ask you whether or not you want to lose weight. And typically the amount of calories that you'll take in per day, if you want to lose weight, is about 200 calories less. So that's about 6,000 calories per month, or about 2 pounds per month, or 12 pounds over a 6-month period. You can obviously do more. You can cut your calories more each day, but it's important to keep in mind that you want to keep the changes somewhat modest, because then you have a greater chance of maintaining those changes. They'll be more sustainable. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, though, the most accurate way to determine how many calories you yourself should be taking in per day is going to be to go to a registered dietitian, but there are tools available online to kind of get you in the ballpark. So the next question I'll ask is, why do we eat what we eat? Why should we eat? And I'm sure the answers to this question are pretty varied. I would imagine that some people would say, well, I eat for taste. I like to eat what tastes good. Okay. Another one could be that when you get emotion, when you feel certain types of emotions, whether you're sad, happy, depressed, there are food patterns that are associated with those emotions. I'll tell you that eating for taste all the time, and certainly eating based on your emotions, it's called emotional eating. Those are not places you want to be in. All right. So if you do have issues with that, or if you feel like you do have issues with that, I would encourage you to see a registered dietitian or some other type of specialist that can kind of help you work through some of those things. Now, that said, it's definitely okay to indulge sometimes. I mean, I absolutely like to indulge at times, and it's good to have your food taste good, but you have to be intentional about what you take, what you eat, what you put in your body. And the two reasons why we should eat is to provide energy for our bodies and to provide nourishment for our bodies. In fact, on the energy side of the house, that's what a calorie is. A calorie is actually a measurement of how much energy a certain food provides. So that's why we talk in terms of calories. Next question, how to keep calories in check. And if you remember, this question came up a little over a year ago, I think, and I wrote a post on it with 4 points to consider when trying to keep your calories down or keep your calories at a reasonable amount. And the first was to track them. The next was to replace them. The third was to limit your calories. And the fourth was to burn your calories. So just real quickly, I'll go through those. Tracking calories. There are a few tools, again, online that you can use to track your calories, and some of them are very good. The one that I've seen used most is the MyFitnessPal app or platform. It's all online, and there's an app for the phone as well. It has some pretty nifty features, things like using the camera on your phone to scan the barcode on certain foods, and it'll automatically input the nutrition information and the amount of calories and so forth. You just tell it how many servings you have. Also has features where you can save your favorite meals, save recipes and things like that. So it's pretty cool. I'll tell you though, when tracking calories, don't go overboard with it. You know, I kind of look at this as weighing yourself every day. So you don't want to weigh yourself all the time and get wrapped around the axle on the fluctuations in your weight, because your weight can change from day to day and probably will change from day to day based on water weight and so forth. The same is true with calories. Instead of tracking your calories all the time, take that burden off of yourself and just try to track your calories 2-3 times a week or something like that, and then look at trends over time. Okay? You don't need to go overboard with tracking every single thing that you put in your body, but it's important to have an idea of what you put in your body so that you can determine positive changes that you need to make in your diet. Next, replacing your calories. You guys may have heard me talk before about nutrient density versus calorie density, and the example that I use most times when it comes to nutrient density and calorie density is a piece of turkey, which is a lean meat, and a piece of sausage, which is not a lean meat. So both items may contain the same amount of protein, i.e. the same amount of nutrients, but the piece of sausage is likely to have a lot more calories because of added fats and so forth than the piece of turkey. So you want to stick to foods that are nutrient dense, that provide good nutrients in relation to the amount of calories they provide, versus foods that are more calorie dense and provide excess calories with a given amount of nutrients. The best way to do this is just to be smart about what you're eating, eat well-balanced meals, and you'll find that most of your choices should be in the nutrient-dense category versus the calorie-dense category. Next, limit your calories. So don't eat until you're full, because if you eat until you're full, that's actually a lagging indicator. Much like if you wait until you're thirsty to drink water, then you're beyond the point of thirst. Okay, so determine portions beforehand. Use smaller plates, things like that. You want to be intentional about what you're eating. After you finish your food, take a few minutes, just wait and see if you're actually still hungry. Okay, so don't go overboard. Don't overindulge with the calories you take in. And then finally, you can burn your calories. So exercise, though, should not be your primary method of trying to burn calories. And I'll tell you that it's almost impossible unless you're extremely active, like professional athlete, or you're fairly young with a high metabolism. It's going to be almost impossible to burn all of the excess calories you take in through exercise. You would be exercising almost all day long. So the best way to control your calories then is going to be through calorie control, such as eating the right types of foods, not overeating. Those things should be your focus. But exercise is absolutely important to help burn some calories, but typically, more importantly, it's important in heart health, in promoting strength and flexibility and so forth, which I talk about in other areas. So that's about it. Keeping your calories in check, track them, replace them, limit them, or burn them. If you want a truly accurate measure of how many calories you should take in, visit a registered dietitian. Otherwise, there are a couple of reasonable sources put out by the government that should give you a ballpark figure. And then be intentional about what you're eating. Eat for energy and nourishment with the occasional indulgence, and you should be set up pretty much for success. So I hope this has been helpful, guys. If you do have further questions on this topic or any other topic, feel free to reach out to me, Coach T at tdfitness.net. And that's about it. I appreciate your time. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time out here.